I know most of you probably watching if you're on there, but this is Survivor Night. And I'm going to recap of tonight's events on Survivor and tell you a few of the things that they did wrong. Hello, I have one person in the room. I'm going to sit here and wait for a few others to come on in because the information I'm about to give might save their lives someday. Okay. I mean, we've got tornadoes ravaging Texas and Oklahoma tonight. And I pray for those people. I hope that they are fine, that that no one's hurt. I know things were damaged over in Oklahoma and in Texas, and God be with those people because it's horrible when you go through a tornado. All right, it's Survivor Night. Let me tell you what they did wrong. Okay, first off, they got long bamboo. They're in a tropical paradise, but it's a rainforest. So chances of getting rain or storms or on an island like that are pretty good. Well, they have yet, in 42 seasons of Survivor, built a TP or a wiki up. Either one of those structures allows you to have your fire indoors. Now, a wiki up is where you find bendable trees that are spaced a distance apart, that you're able to bend those trees over and tie them together, weaving them in and out of one another until you form a dome, and leaving a hole about 12 inches by 12 inches right up the middle. That's your smokestack. Okay, that allows you to have your fire indoors. ATP is pretty easy, especially when you've got large tropical leaves and palm fronds. They always like to use the palm fronds, okay? Well, they're fine for funneling water away from where you want it to go. And you want to place them thickly all the way around your TP, leaving an opening to go in and out. Something you got to duck into. You don't want to leave much, okay? But you want to have a teepee. Those large bamboo poles are perfect for getting and forming a large teepee. The longer the poles, the bigger around the teepee can be. A teepee's a pretty easy structure. Now, the other thing they got with them is a machete. Now, if you notch that bamboo where you can put another smaller piece of bamboo in between them as you go up the teepee, you can form your skeleton for building putting all of your leaves and supports on. Well, your palm fronds work very well for forming your outside coating of your teepee. Remember, I mentioned those big leaf plants? Those leaves can form a very comfortable pit bed or pallet. Coconut uh, fiber makes a nice soft place to land. Grasses, but you need to get you a bed that's going to keep you off the ground, but also keep you comfortable and dry. Instead of forming one big bed platform, form a ring all the way around a platform where people can form, and it doesn't have to be that far off the ground, just far enough to keep some of the bugs off of you. Now, when looking into the Survivor for tonight, uh, they were very wet. They had a tarp. They put the tarp on top of the lean to and left the sides open so they were subject to the wind. Wet clothes, wind means cold. Had they taken the tarp and formed a tent, might have been huddled together pretty tight, but that's called body warmth. And the best thing they could have done was get under the tarp and get naked. Okay? And then start wringing them clothes out, getting them dry. But had they been in a teepee, their fire wouldn't have got wet. And you want to make sure you build that fire up off of the ground. Lots of ways to do that. I notice there's lots of rocks out there in the ocean. And they could bring rocks in and build the fire pit up so that the fire is actually above the ground. So when rain comes in a flash flood situation, perhaps it won't put your fire out. Now, your fire can stay good if you just get you a good hot bed of coals going and use the ashes to help keep that fire smoldering. When you have to leave to go to tribal council or something, that cooking pot you're using might be a real good way to keep some coals nice and warm so that when you get back, you can start that fire up real good. But it ain't gonna get wet anyway because you built a teepee, okay? When you build that teepee, you build a flap with weave fronds that goes over the hole to determine how much heat you want to keep in or let out. Study a teepee. If I was going to be going there, I'd be studying the old Indian ways of building teepees and wiki ups. But I'm not on Survivor. Well, hello, Freedom Squirrel. I'm trying to give. I just got through watching Survivor, and I'm talking about the Survivor. I've watched it now for 42 seasons. And I look for things that they do wrong in the survival world. Well, tonight, if you didn't watch it, we're in a rainstorm. I mean, they were cold, they were wet, they were shivering, their hands was turning white. Anyway, I was telling folks, in 42 seasons, they have yet to build a teepee. A teepee, simple teepee. They got plenty of long bamboo. They got lots of cordage that they can get and make to tie the top with, spread it out, and make a teepee. The nice thing about a big teepee is that you can put your fire inside. You can stay warm. You can keep your fire dry so it don't go out on you. And you huddle a little bit closer together in a teepee. And if you make your beds and you make individual beds for you, like they did with the bamboo, don't make one great big huge thing. Make little individual beds that go around in a circle in the teepee. They work very well, but you want to make sure you pack them. You want to put that bamboo together to make your bed, but then you want to cover your bed. You got to get the wind off of you from the ground. You got to be off the ground because of the bugs. And those big leaf plants that are everywhere in the rainforest, those leaves make real good bedding. And with a little extra coconut fiber, they can be really comfortable and really soft and stay dry inside a teepee. But they didn't think of that, so they had all these wet clothes on. Now, if they would just take those clothes and start wringing them, wring them, get the water out of them, and hang them in your teepee where the fire can get on them and dry them, but they didn't build a teepee. But they left them hanging out on a line instead of bringing them in underneath the tarp. so they can start getting dry. But you got to wring the heck out of them and get most of the moisture out of them when you put them in the dry spot. They took their tarp, took palm fronds off, pulled their tarp over the top of their lean-to, and never cut off an ounce of wind. Now, had they taken that tarp, as big as it is, and brought it down and crawled under it, close together, body heat, they'd have stayed warmer and drier because they will have cut off the wind. I have watched Survivor for 42 seasons, and I have yet to see them do the logical thing of building a teepee, or what we used to call a wickie up. Now, in the woods of the Ozarks, you got a lot of little saplings, little oaks, and you find a spot where you can clear it out and be able to take the trees and bend them over and fold them together. And then you get one from over here and you fold it together, and one from over here and you fold it together until you have formed a round building. You don't want corners. You're not looking for squares. You're looking for a circle, leaving a opening near the top. Because again, in a wiki up, you can put your fire in the center of the room and keep it dry. You don't have to have a bonfire to stay warm in a smaller space where the wind is cut off. 42 seasons. Not a real survivor among them. They're hungry. Okay, somebody fishes. They don't figure that tide goes in and out. They have lots of bamboo. They have yet to build a tide trap. This is where you trap the fish and the animals inside the trap as the tide comes in, and you go out and you shut the gate so they can't get out when the tide goes out. No telling what you can catch in there. Stingray, shark, crabs, mussels, smaller fish, depending on how tight you weave that bamboo together to make that fence and gate. They ain't done that either. So I'm going to tell you folks a little bit about staying warm. These people were freezing, okay? One of the things that people do not understand is rocks get hot. Now you got to watch your rock because some rocks have air pockets and you put them in the fire, they'll explode. So you want a nice, dense rock. But if you take your fire and you put the rocks in it and heat them. Now I have a stainless steel pot. Okay, it goes with me everywhere. If only my pot could talk, it could tell some stories. But my pot, I put it up on a cement block in my living room, and I go out to my outdoor fire pit, and where I've heated up some rocks, and I bring those rocks, put those rocks in the pot, and bring them in the house, and set it on the brick. Put the lid on it. That pot has radiant heat. Those rocks will stay hot for quite a while. But I make sure I got more rocks on the fire. Okay. And I got a good fire going. Okay. Then I make my space smaller. The smaller the space, the more heat is preserved within the space. I used to tell people get out your camping tent, put it up in the living room, get your hot pot rocks, put it inside your tent, and stay in your tent while you're waiting on you're needing to warm up. Okay, the power's out or whatever. I've been teaching survival for a long time, and when you're going camping or you're going to be in that situation, which you may all find yourself in pretty shortly. If we end up in World War III, your comforts are over, and you better know how to make it in the woods. You got to get out of the cities. You're going to have to leave. You can't find anything to eat in a concrete jungle when supply is gone. Unless then you prepared. Got you some Thrive Life food, freeze dried food, or some Patriot 4 foods, something that's got a 25-year shelf life. If you was to find that, you're trying to choose an emoji for me. Oh, or a tree, a flower. I'm all about nature and living in nature. So you might want to find me a something to do with nature, squirrel. She's just gonna bring me. Yeah. Oh, by the way, before I forget it, the People's Convoy posted their route across 80. Now, from where they're at to Omaha is over 1,000 miles. Now they're leaving in the morning. That's Thursday. I figure they travel usually about 300 miles in a day. So that means it's going to take them 3 days to get to Omaha, Nebraska. Travel 300 miles. That gets them 900 of the 1,000 miles, okay? Thereabouts. And either on Sunday or Monday, they should land somewhere around Omaha, Nebraska. Well, I did the Rand McNally figuring, and I figured out that if I was to go up 29 and hit 70, I could be right there by Omaha. Well, my part didn't come in because it was supposed to get in my truck today. They notified me today that my part is held up in New Jersey, but should be here in 2 days. Well, this is Wednesday. That's Thursday. That's Friday before I get my part. Now, it ain't going to take long to put the throttle body on my pickup truck. Okay, got to take out 4 bolts, remove 2 lines, put it back on, mount it on with 4 more bolts and 2 lines, and it's ready to go. There's still the windshield problem. So we're hoping and praying, God willing, and the creek don't rise, that the part comes in early on Friday. And we get it over there and get it in by about 9 or 10 on Friday morning. At that point, I'm going to be traveling up to Nixa while blowing out some seafoam through the engine to make sure the engine's good and clean. And I'm going to travel up to Nixa to All Glass, and I'm going to have a windshield put in. At that point, I'm going to return home, pack up, I'll be packed. The weather's supposed to be good tomorrow, and I got everything sitting here ready to go in the truck. I got my list. The last thing I'll be taking is my computer stuff because it's going to get locked up in the cab and not in the back of the truck. Okay, so it's kind of like the last thing to go with me. But everything else is ready except for what I'm going to wear. At that point, I should be packed up completely by tomorrow evening. And then all I've got to do is get the part put on the truck, run up and get my windshield, come back home, secure my house. I'm going to empty out my refrigerator, clean the refrigerator, get everything emptied out, get the walk through, get the last minute of items that I need out of this house. Turn the keys to my car and the keys to my house over to my neighbor. Grab my puppy here bright and early Saturday morning to Nixon to get my windshield. If not, okay. Is my connection back now, guys? Squirrel, you got me back again. It said my connection was not very good. We got stormy weather here. Yeah, I'm hoping everybody's picking me up. I says I have full bars, but whatever. Anyway, my goal is to get up on Saturday morning, scoot my butt north, and get out over past Kansas City, okay, on Saturday. and then pick up on Sunday morning and head on up to 80 and be there waiting for the convoy to come through on 80 near Omaha, Nebraska. Now, if anybody wants to join me, you go to Rand McNally and you take Branson, Missouri to Omaha, Nebraska, and I'm going to be taking the 29 rather than go right up through Kansas City. I'm going to go around Kansas City and get hit up and go on up. And I have that. And if you look at it, it's going to give you time schedules. Now, remember, I'm going to be a little behind those times. I don't drive real fast. Okay. And I have to stop and pee a little more often than some people. That's why I want to give myself a good head start on Saturday morning. Now, if you stay with me, if you email me, and I will give you my phone number. And if you plan to join me, you're going to need to call me so that I have your number and I can text where I'm at along the way. Every time I stop, I can put out a test. This is where I'm at. So if anybody wants to meet up with me, travel up to Nebraska and meet the People's Convoy and go on into D.C., you are welcome to join. Rule is you got to have a flag on your vehicle so we know you're part of the convoy. Now I'm not going to be rolling fast. I don't need to, because the earliest they're going to get to Omaha is Sunday, and that's if they bust butt. But I'm not used to them traveling more than 300 miles in a day, sometimes 4, but very seldom. Okay, because they usually don't get out with gas and everything else until about noon. And they like to try to get where they're going to light before it turns dark if they can. So, and they're a convoy. They travel slow. All right? They don't travel the full speed limit. Honey, I don't need no Pringles can. I got one of me them hospital bottles. But I still got to stop. I can't do it while I'm driving. And the dog's got to pee. But physically, my back can only take about 200 miles, and then it's got to stop. It's got to get out. It's got to stretch. Usually, I got to put a Latiderm patch on. Okay? I know it's an art. I mean, honey, I've been a protester. Okay? I know how to take a plastic oxygen mask. It's got a hole in the front of it. Okay? Hook a hose to it. Run it down my leg and into a bottle on my tied to my leg, and I can go all day long without peeing, going to pee. Okay? Now, going the other way, I can do that pretty good too, because I got me a Folgers coffee can with a Ziploc bag in it. One of them gallon Ziploc bags in my coffee can so that I can go and zip up the bag, and when I get where I can throw it away. I'm a survivor, but I'm old. I don't ride around, walk any distance. Well, riding in a vehicle, they get really pretty tight. 300 miles is usually my total limit. That's why I said if I leave here early Saturday, I can land up above Kansas City somewhere on 29 at a rest stop somewhere and pull over and spend 3 or 4 hours and sleep. Get myself prone. Now, that's the way I'm going to have to do it, Freedom. Oh, you like that coffee can idea. I've used it for years. For years. A Folgers coffee can, got a nice handle in it. Plastic lid seals it pretty good. And a gallon Ziploc bag fits in it perfectly. It also holds, it's really nice to hold the roll of toilet paper. So you put your coffee cans, some extra gallon Ziploc bags in your vehicle, and you put the toilet paper down in the coffee can. It works. Been there, done that too many times. Everybody out there hollering they ain't got no bathroom. Okay? All you need's a dang 5-gallon bucket. Yeah, just a 5-gallon bucket with a lid and a trash bag, a hula hoop, and a shower curtain. You now have a private commode. All you got to do is sit down on it and pull it up over your head. Hold the hula hoop up because it's got a shower curtain wrapped around it. Do your business. You can take that hula hoop and drop it around your neck with the shower curtain on it while you're pulling up your britches or sitting down. Used them in protest many times. 5-gallon bucket, small hula hoop or big hula hoop, depending on your body size, and a shower curtain you can't see through. Works. Shower curtain comes in handy in case you get in the rains. You can always unhook the shower curtain off the hula hoop, and heck, you can have several people underneath that shower curtain not getting wet. In my world of Survivor, everything has to have two purposes. It's got to be used for more than one thing. It's kind of like my roaster oven. Now, my roaster oven, it's electric. So I have me a marine battery and a trickle charger for the marine battery. I got me a 900-watt alternator on my truck with a 900-watt battery. And I got me this little bitty heater. It's not only a heater, it's a fan. Everything has to have two purposes. Right? Now, my roaster oven, I cook in it. I can also use it to create heat if I need it. I need to prepare meals, my tongs, all that stuff's down in the roaster. I also have a cast iron bean pot and a cast iron skillet. Now the cast iron bean in my pot if I don't have any rocks. But it makes a formidable weapon. Don't mess with an old woman with a cast iron skillet in her hand. She's liable to bash your head in. Handy. Handy. Has 2 or 3 purposes. Okay? So I always keep everything, okay? A milk jug. It can be a milk jug, it can be a funnel, water jug. Lots of things. You got to keep lots of things on. Excuse me. Hello. Yes, is this who's this? This is. Oh, I'm on. Is back up and huh? OTR is back up and running, and he wants to get me on there, guys. And we're going to have an interview, and I'm going to be talking with this fella right here, and we're going to make arrangements for that. So we're going to remember that tonight was Survivor 1011, and tomorrow or the next day or whenever, we're going to be doing survival classes. So y'all, next time I log on, have a pen and a piece of paper with you, and start taking notes because it's going to get bad. It's going to get bad. And if you ain't prepared for the very worst, you ain't going to make it because it's going to be the very worst that you can imagine. And I need you all. Number one, I want you to go on to Thrive Live Food Or I want you to go on to Patriot Foods, and I need you to get yourself at least 3 months, preferably 12 months worth of food. And you ought to stack up on some water too. And remember, don't put that water where the sun's going to be on it, because they make them damn bottles with chemicals in them that when they get hot, they put the chemical in the water. So don't do that. Get yourself some water, get yourself some food. Okay? And make sure you don't forget the animals. They're going to need food too. And that dog food that comes in a bag, it spoils. You get yourself some canned chicken, you get yourself some potted meat, you get yourself some treat or spam, you get your animals something you can make them food with, along with plain old Quaker oats. Get yourself some Quaker oats, because dogs can eat oats and they can eat rice. So they don't have to have, and if you add just a little bit of that chicken, and the rest of it you eat yourself. But you add a little bit from, so will them kitty cats. Instead of the chicken, add the tuna. They will be fine, healthy, and it's survivable food. It's not going to spoil. Okay? Well, good night tonight. I love you. You all take it easy, and I'll see you in DC.